Welcome to Atlanta News First Sports Tonight. I'm Fred Kalil along with Scott Pennyman, our producer. We've got lots of topics to get to tonight. So, Scotty, let's go ahead and start with this one. I got you from Cleveland.
I am.
So, LeBron on the verge of history, breaking a record that we thought we'd never see broken. Yeah. That's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's point total, which is kind of incredible, over 38,000 points. He needs 63 to pass, 62 to tie. It's a record that old guys like me thought would never be broken. And here's LeBron ready to break it.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's pretty personal for me, Fred. I spent many years covering LeBron James from the beginning of his career at Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary High School, to him being drafted by the Cavaliers, and obviously things played out how they did in Cleveland. He goes to Miami. It's just been one of the best careers in the history of sports, and I think it's just such a tremendous honor. I mean, just think about, it's just not about how well you play basketball. Just think about how many years you actually have to play a high level of quality basketball.
A long time, right.
To get anywhere near 30,000 points. Now we're talking about 38,000. We're talking about passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the most iconic athletes in the history of the world. I mean, it's crazy. But as crazy as it is, as amazing of a big deal it is to actually be there for him breaking that record, I don't think it's $92,000 worth, right, Fred?
You know, that's what the tickets are going for. They're being scalped for $92,000, which is kind of incredible. Yeah, like I said on the news, on Atlanta News First. Hey, honey, you know what? Hold off on that down payment for the house, okay? Because I want to go see LeBron break the record. Right. I mean, Taylor Swift, you know, she got nothing on LeBron, man. I mean, these are expensive tickets, 92 grand to see LeBron try to break the record in Los Angeles. That's beyond comprehension for me. And I guess somebody will pay it. I mean, that's the thing, you know. And the Lakers, you think about the Lakers, you know, they're such an iconic brand. Of course, Kareem started his career in Milwaukee, won a championship there, and then, you know, moved on to Los Angeles and played for the Lakers, where he played his college ball at UCLA. Yeah. You know, Elgin Baylor, you know, started with the Minneapolis Lakers and then went to the LA Lakers. Elgin Baylor was a great Laker name as well.
Absolutely.
But you think about Kareem and what he's done. I mean, he was, you know, basketball for so long, you know, especially for big men. He had Magic. It was Magic and Kareem and James Worthy in the 80s Showtime. And Kareem is what we always thought would always be the all-time leading scorer. And here's LeBron. Yeah. He's going to do it. He's going to do it soon. 62 to tie, 63 to break it.
I feel like no matter where you stand on, you know, if LeBron's the greatest player you've ever seen play, 1, 2, or 3, it really doesn't matter. Just anybody who's able to break that scoring record that I thought, when I first started watching basketball, I thought nobody would score 38,000 plus points. I thought that was one of the safest records in sports history.
Me too.
Now we have LeBron James, who is right there, so just 63 points away from breaking it. No matter how you feel about him, no matter how you feel about his career, how he's fared in postseason,
right,
what he's done in the finals, everything, just to be able to have the kind of career to get close to this record. I mean, just imagine the hype LeBron James came into the NBA with. I mean, it was just an unprecedented amount of hype. So to honestly not just match the hype, exceed the hype. I mean, there's no standard. No one ever expects someone to be able to join the NBA and break the all-time scoring record.
No.
I mean, that's never the expectation.
You know, Kareem did a lot of things like LeBron did. He won the title in Milwaukee, you know, way back when, I believe it was 1971. Mm-hmm. Then he ended his career in Los Angeles with the Lakers, and that's how he, you know, became a movie star and the NBA's all-time leading scorer as well.
Yeah.
So there's LeBron. Let's move on to the next one. Deion Sanders, the new head football coach at the University of Colorado, an Atlanta icon, right? Former Falcons, former Brave. Georgia, I need at least 8 more Georgia young men that can make a difference in day one. Smart, tough, fast, disciplined with character. I ain't hard to find. Let's change the game together. So Primetime taking out a billboard here in Atlanta in the area to try to recruit for Colorado and get some kids to go out there and play for him.
I think it's smart. I mean, just look at how much high school talent you have in the state of Georgia.
A lot.
So many players going to play SEC, ACC, even Big Ten from the state of Georgia. So that's a very smart to me. Like you said, he played here. He spent a lot of time in Atlanta. He knows the amount of talent, the amount of football talent that's in the state of Georgia. So I think that him wanting to dip into that pool to go bring some players out to Colorado, that may be a hard sell because it's a little bit colder in Boulder, Colorado than it is in anywhere in Georgia. But I think that if he can convince some of those guys to come there, I think those would be some great gets just from a talent standpoint. He's really changing the game out in Colorado. I mean, from the second he's arrived, what did he recruit? One of the top defensive backs this year?
Of course. I mean, if you're a defensive back, why wouldn't you want to go play
Absolutely.
for Deion Sanders? If anybody could teach you and tell you how to play defensive back, it's Deion Sanders. It's prime time. He's the all-time best at corner. I mean, to be cornerback, a lot of coaches and recruits call cornerbacks unicorns because there aren't many of them.
That's true.
There aren't many good ones for sure.
Yeah.
And Deion was and knows how to teach and has proven that he's a good coach. So why wouldn't you want to go play for Deion Sanders? I mean, young men wanted to go do that at Jackson State. Now they're going to go do it at Colorado and play for the Buffaloes and play in the Big 12. Well, not the Big 12. They're going to be in the Pac-12 now.
Yeah, Pac-12. And not just from a football standpoint. We've heard so much about what Deion Sanders has done for young men, for their lives, for everything. So this is not just a football decision when you're making the decision to go out to play for Deion in Colorado. It's more about just what he can do for your life as a whole. And he showed that when he was at Jackson State, just how many lives he impacted, just from top to bottom. That's on the field and off the field. So if you're a young man, defensive back, no matter what position you play, and you have an opportunity to go play for such a great like Deion Sanders.
Oh, man, you got to do it.
I think it's a no-brainer.
You got to do it. Yeah, I think, if you want, like you said, man, if you want to learn how to play defensive back, you want to learn how to play corner, there's nobody better to teach you than Deion Sanders. So, I mean, he's the guy.
I mean, who are you going to go to?
He can teach you, he can teach you the swag. He can teach all of it, right?
Oh, man. And like I say, young men seem to be very drawn to him. They seem to be very drawn to what he brings to the table. I think anytime you have an opportunity to play for someone who's been there, done that, he's walked the path that you would like to walk yourself, I think that brings just that has to make any young man think and go, maybe Colorado would be the place for me, or wherever Prime is coaching.
All right, now Scott, I know you were over at Georgia Tech today. So Georgia Tech coach Josh Pastner is on the hot seat. They're 1-11 right now in the ACC, and that's very tough. They've lost 8 straight, but he's got a $2.5 million buyout. That's going to be tough. And after the Institute had to pay football coach Jeff Collins $11.37 million to go away, I'm not sure Tech has the money to buy out Josh Pastner, but Josh Pastner is a likable guy. I mean, nobody works harder. Nobody tries to make his team win more than a guy like Josh Pastner, because he's a good guy. He loves his players. He wants to win. I mean, and it's always tough when something like that happens.
It is, and I've spent a lot of time this season over at Georgia Tech with Coach Pastner. He's one of the nicest coaches I've ever covered before on any level, high school, college, whatever. He wants so badly for that team to win. It's just, I don't know, it's just he had a pretty solid start at Georgia Tech from what I can see, but last 2 years it's just been so tough. It's been so hard. Offensively, they've struggled so much this year, and you really feel bad for him. You feel bad for the program because they've lost some really close, tough games as well. But Fred, we know the reality of
you gotta win.
We know the reality of any sport, whether it's college sports or pro sports. At some point, it's not enough to be nice. You've got to cash in on some W's.
But, here's the thing: Georgia Tech has got to get players in to the school. I mean, they make their. I think personally, they make their academics and their academic admissions so difficult, and they go, well, we're an engineering school. Well, guess what? Purdue's a pretty good engineering school too. They've had astronauts.
That's true.
And believe me, I went to Indiana, so I'm not a Purdue fan. Yeah. And I mean, they put people on the moon. They've done all that stuff. I mean, that's a good engineering school, and they're number 1 in the country.
Yeah,
they're number 1 in the country.
I mean, I think at some point you kind of run out of excuses. I mean, like I say, it's you kind of have to play the hand you're dealt. Georgia Tech has 3- and 4-star players that were recruited there too.
We looked. Remember, we looked. Yeah. We went on. Scott and I, when we were preparing for the show, we went on and looked in Georgia Tech. Did they have anybody above a 3-star?
They had a couple guys who were 4-star.
4 stars?
They had a couple 4-star guys.
Did Purdue have what? The 5 stars, right? They had a couple 5 stars?
Yeah. I mean, are you going to get elite level talent at a place like Georgia Tech? Probably not, because of the things that you said. But you get some really good players at Georgia Tech, and you hope when you bring in really at least decent level players that the coaching is to a level where it can kind of just think about it. When Coach K started, and I don't want to compare Josh Pastner or anybody else to Coach K and what he meant. We're talking about maybe the greatest college coach in college basketball history. But when you think about kind of how he started at Duke, they didn't always get 4- and 5-star players. Coach K sort of built that program and got them to a level where they could recruit
Right.
4- and 5-star players.
I mean, they were good. Duke was pretty good when they got there. I mean, they had gone to a Final Four. I mean, they were pretty good when Krzyzewski got there already. And because I saw them playing a Final Four, a couple of years before Krzyzewski got there. But he did a great job at Army. He did a great job.
Yeah, he just took things to a whole new level.
Sure, he did. No doubt.
I think that in Gonzaga with Mark Few, that's a program where it was maybe at one level when he arrived, and then he gets there and they really take it to the next level.
Well, here's one thing though. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but those two schools are private schools.
That's true.
Okay, they're private schools. They're not, state schools like in Georgia. Where you've got the Hope Scholarship.
That's true.
So your admissions are really, difficult,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes difficult to get, young guys and young ladies into school. If it's a private school, okay, boom, Monsignor signs off on it. He's going to Gonzaga.
Now you were here during like Bobby Crimmins and those guys.
Yeah.
Like, what did they do in order to be able to stay competitive?
Bobby Crimmins would always concentrate on just one or two guys, like Stephon Marbury. And I said, Bobby, you're only going to have him for 1 year. And he goes, let me tell you, wait till you see this kid play. Then you tell me if you'd rather have him for one or none.
Right.
And Stephon Marbury took him to the Sweet 16.
So true.
He wasn't Kenny Anderson. He wasn't afraid to recruit guys that were 1 or 2 or 3 years. He wasn't afraid to do that. And he would go into New York, and he was able to, and they were able to get the guys into school, and they stayed in school. And Dennis Scott, he's another
3D
prime example. Yeah, 3D. He's great. I mean, it was Lethal Weapon 3. I mean, they had Tom Hammonds, they had Dennis Scott. They were good. I mean, obviously they went to the Final Four. They won a lot of ACC championships under Bobby Crimmins.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just so frustrating when you look at what they have, and I think that Josh Pastner is a really good basketball coach, but he's just got to find a way to get more out of what they have. I mean, just bottom line, and I think, he'll get the rest of this season. Hopefully they finish strong. And if they don't finish strong, I think I think there could be some changes.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, you got to have players, though. You got to have some players. No doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on here now. Pro Bowl weekend. Is it worth it? I say no.
Whoa.
The way the Pro Bowl is now is worthless. I don't want to see guys running the 40-yard dash playing flag football. I don't want that. As a fan, I don't want to see that. I don't care about that. I really don't. I'm sure not going to go buy a ticket to see my favorite football players play flag football.
They're trying so hard to make this game relevant, man. They're trying.
Well, I mean, it's an all-star game. So, I mean, NBA all-star game, it's like 167, and they don't play any defense. It's just, I mean, I guess you see your stars in person.
Right.
But that's about as good as it gets.
They've been trying so hard to make this game relevant. And look, I mean, it's just, I feel like it's one of those things that they probably should have just leave it in Hawaii. It was a really good thing out there. Anytime you bring all those guys out to Hawaii, it was a vacation for all those guys. So now they have it at different spots around the country. Guys don't even mind saying, you know what? Ooh, my knee hurts a little bit.
Right,
I don't think I can go. Or ooh, my pinky hurts. I don't think I can play in the Pro Bowl.
Because when you go to Hawaii, that's a little bit different. Yeah,
it's not a Hawaii vacation.
Yeah, it's a great trip, to go to Hawaii. I mean, that's pretty nice.
So 3/4 of the team, 3/4 of the guys who get voted to the Pro Bowl don't even show up to play anyway. So it's like,
why would you do it?
And
why would you buy a ticket to go see that? I mean, to go see guys playing flag football, running a 40-yard dash, and like a Battle of the Network Stars or something. Is what it looks like.
At this point, it's just pretty much just like, look, I mean, I would rather just get everybody together, have a ceremony, have everyone there out, just shake hands and take pictures with a lot of fans, and let's just move on with life.
Fan Day, make it all Pro Fan Day.
Make it all Fan Day because
there it is.
Everything else
Pro Bowl Fan Day.
Everything else that they're trying to do with the game and the Pro Bowl is just irrelevant and a total waste of all of our time. Okay,
here we go. NHL All-Star Weekends in South Florida. We had an NHL All-Star game here in 2008 after the 2005 All-Star game was canceled because of the NHL lockout. And, but here's the thing. Here's what I don't get, all right? You've got the Arizona Coyotes playing in a college hockey rink, okay? Yeah. Seriously, playing in a college hockey rink. And they took the Thrashers from Atlanta and moved them to Winnipeg. I mean, and they allowed that to happen.
Right.
And it was Phoenix that took the first Winnipeg Jets because the Thrashers were an expansion team. But the first incarnation of the Winnipeg Jets moved to Phoenix. They were the Phoenix Coyotes. They built them a new arena out on the west side of town where they, their research showed the fans were.
Right.
Didn't work, so they got out of that arena, and now they're in Arizona State. Arizona State has a club hockey team.
Yeah.
So they're playing NHL games in a club hockey arena. I mean, and Atlanta does not have a hockey franchise. I mean, that's wrong. I mean, I thought the Thrashers were great here. I mean, I really did. I thought they were, but it was Atlanta spirit, and that, they sold it, and it was over.
So let me ask you, Fred, what do you think it would ever take to get hockey back to Atlanta?
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, they're, maybe, I don't know if they give them 3 strikes. I mean, they've already had 2 strikes. I don't know if you get 3. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question is, why do you think it never really caught on here?
It did. It wasn't that bad. I mean, It wasn't. You bought, the owners sold them to some people in Winnipeg who took them up there, and made them the Winnipeg Jets. That's what happened. I mean, it was, the Atlanta Spirit group that basically just sold the team and see you later and take everything with you on the way out.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Look, I'll be the first one to admit, I mean, when it comes to hockey, sometimes it took me a while to really catch on to the sport and really become.
Tickets are expensive. I mean, tickets are very expensive for hockey.
Honestly, it took me going to a hockey game.
Right.
When I went and I sat right by the boards and I'm seeing guys go crashing into the boards and smack their face and everything.
Of course, yeah,
now, that was
that's
fun.
what you want to see.
That was something I can get into when you see teeth flying across the ice. Now that's something you can get into when it comes to hockey.
Blood
but when
on
they're
the
just playing
ice, baby.
hockey, no good.
What's it when they're what? You mean hockey on TV is no good?
No, hockey on TV.
You want it in person, certainly. And like I said, the tickets are expensive, but they're playing in such a small arena. I think that if you had to pick, I don't think Atlanta deserved to lose our franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, that was sold to Winnipeg, and I mean, I think I was looking the other day because I tried to keep track of Thrashers who are still playing, and I think there are like 4 or 5 former Thrashers that are still playing.
Yeah, I knew.
And it was, and then that's kind of neat. So.
Yes, I remember working with a woman. Her husband played for the Thrashers. Sorry, and so yeah, I mean, it was he enjoyed his time in Atlanta, and it was Atlanta's a really great place to. I just don't know. It's just one of those things. Atlanta in hockey. You say that they did pretty well, and that's pretty cool. But it's just I never really. You don't look around Atlanta and go, wow, I bet they love hockey here.
You look around Phoenix and go, oh, man, it's 106.
That's true.
Let's go play a hockey game. It's 106 degrees. Let's go hit the ice.
See, that does it for me. That's the reason why I can't get into hockey is because it's just too cold, okay? I don't want to – I can get into football because it's too cold because it's interesting. But anytime you're out there skating around on ice, if I fall on ice, that's no good, man. I can't do it. No.
Hockey is great in person, but, I mean, the tickets are expensive. It is difficult, It's tough to get a ticket. A season ticket is really, really expensive there. Okay.
That's true.
NHL All-Star Weekend. Like I said, okay, we talked about that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of neat that NHL All-Star Weekend. Do you watch that at all? Do you watch the NHL All-Star Weekend, the skills competition? That's pretty good too. Like you watch the skills competition in basketball. Skills competition is hockey. I mean, those guys got to hit they got to hit the top shelf. They got to hit different parts of the net. That's pretty neat.
Well, I tell you for one thing for sure, it's probably better than the Pro Bowl, right? It's probably better than anything. That's the one area where the NHL probably has the NFL beat is their All-Star Weekend because they actually have skills and everything like that actually make it a little bit fun. But, yeah, it's just when you start thinking about Pro Bowls, look, all these leagues are trying to do everything they can to make these All-Star games just more fun. I think the NBA.
Well, they want to reward the players, because they've got incentives in their contracts. You know, if I make the Pro Bowl, I'm getting an extra $50,000 or $100,000, or depending on what position I'm playing, right? So, they're trying to get those incentives and make that work and get them up there. So, I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah,
in
I
my
think it's
estimation.
important. Let me ask you, Fred, which All-Star game, which sports All-Star game do you think is the best?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, maybe hockey, but that's a lot too. I mean, they score a lot in that. I don't know. I mean, the baseball All-Star game is pretty good. The baseball All-Star game is pretty good. We've had that here a couple of times, and I think when they made it, after the strike and everything, they kind of put some different rules in.
Yeah.
The winner of the All-Star game, that league has home field, used to have home field in the World Series, and I always thought that was good.
Really?
when they did that.
You
yeah.
like that?
Yeah, because it made the guys play. It made them show up and try.
Yeah.
You had to try.
My thing is though, if you're an
Well,
all-star,
then don't play it.
Yeah, if you're an all-star on a last place team, do you really care about who gets home court in the championship round or home field in the championship round? You ain't going. It's like,
Well, but I mean, if you're a teammate, you're going to try to
That's
win,
true.
right? I mean,
That's
if you're a teammate,
That's true.
you're going to try to win. I mean, I think that you go out and try to win every game you play. I think. I don't know.
That's
I
awesome.
would. Even though I don't have any talent, I'd go out and try to win every. I want to win everything I do, man. I want to try to win every time I step out there.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I think, like I said, all these leagues are trying to do everything they can, and I think all these all-star games just suck. It's just really, there's only but so much that you can do because guys aren't going to go all out for an all-star game because their loyalties lie with their teams and with the regular seasons and with their, they don't want to mess up possible contracts. So I get why guys don't go all out for all-star games. I totally understand it. But as a fan, they're just really tough to watch. I mean, the festivities around the NBA all-star game are a lot of fun, but the actual game itself stinks. So, I mean, I think that
it's like watching an old ABA game.
Yeah, I mean, the scores are like
162 to 154,
Yeah.
and there's, I mean, there is no defense.
No.
Nobody's going to touch anybody, and you don't want a guy to get hurt, right? I mean, that's what you want to see. Fans want to see offense in an all-star game. They don't want to see, somebody backing down and getting a hook shot or a foul.
Maybe I'm a little bit different, Fred. I just want to see great players play the best they can against each other.
Yeah, well,
So,
I mean but you get those guys making a lot of great moves, a lot of great plays.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just there's nobody guarding them.
I remember
So
me and my
it's-
buddy, this had to be like the 1992 NBA All-Star game. I think it was 1992. And just late in the game in the fourth quarter, it was one of the most competitive games that you ever want to see. You had the 12 best players on each team.
Right. Well, that was, I mean,
Best in the world, last 5 or 10 minutes of a game, playing as hard as they can. Like, that's when the All-Star game is fun. But when everyone is letting each other get dunks every time and the final score is 185 to 184, that's no fun. Come on.
No, and maybe they do something like the baseball used to do, is where they do make it home court, but I don't think they'll ever do that. I don't think that the union will never let that happen.
Yeah. So
What else is on your mind, Scotty?
Oh man, this has just been, as far as the week in sports, I mean, just with the Super Bowl and everything coming up and National Signing Day and everything, it's really been man, football just kind of dominates the day, don't they? I mean, just all year round.
We're in the South, man. It dominates every day, which
Football
is great. I love it.
You know, it's really cool. I want to hit back on something we were talking about yesterday, the Falcons.
Yeah.
We talked about, yesterday, if you didn't tune in yesterday, we were talking about the Falcons, and we kind of tossed around the idea of them maybe going after Lamar Jackson this offseason, right?
Right. You know what? How would you like to be Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator for
man,
Georgia, who was going to talk to Tampa Bay, right? But then Tom Brady says he's not going to go. He retires. Now he's going to talk to Baltimore, and they're talking about Lamar Jackson might leave.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the two reasons that he would go coach those two teams are going to be gone. So does he stay? Does he go? Does he do something else?
That's true, man. Poor Todd Monken. What's he probably getting, like $2 million a year
Yeah,
at
I was
Georgia?
going to say, I feel so bad for him, right?
Poor guy. He can't decide which $1 million job he's going to take. But no, look, I mean, that's
he's a heck
kind
of a football coach. He can do whatever he wants.
He is. I mean, he's an excellent coordinator. It just seems to me like with Monken, though, it just seems to me like he wants to forge his way back to the NFL. It seems like he wants to be a coach at the highest level, coach the highest level of players. He's obviously done a great job at UGA.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, when you're that level of a competitor, you want your skills to be tested at the highest level.
No doubt.
And I think that's where Todd Monken is at right now. He wants to get back to the NFL. You can tell. You can just tell. It's kind of like Jim Harbaugh up in Michigan.
Yeah.
Like, every year he says, look, I'm happy at Michigan. I want to be here. I want to be at Michigan. But it seems like every offseason he flirts with the NFL. And it's not really a money thing because he's getting like $9 million per season.
Right, yeah, of course. I mean, he's making enough money at Michigan.
Yeah.
He doesn't need any more money.
Exactly.
And that's his alma mater, too. I mean, so.
Exactly. And I just think it's just that those competitive juices get the flowing.
Well, it's the highest, as you said, it's the highest level of football
on
the world, on the planet.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's, there's nothing better than the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the top of the top, so you got to do it.
Right. So, and I just think that just comes crawling. That just comes itching at those guys. It's just the itch that they can't scratch, especially with Jim Harbaugh, because Jim Harbaugh came about a play or two away from winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right, with Colin Kaepernick as his quarterback. Yeah.
So,
the 49ers, they beat the Falcons in the NFC Championship game at the Georgia Dome.
Yes, sir.
That year. I remember that
very
vividly. Yeah, that was a wild game that went down to the wire.
And I just think I think with Jim Harbaugh, I think that just sticks in his brain. I think he's like, you know what, I'm doing a good job here at Michigan and everything. And then, same thing with Todd Monken. I think with those high-level coaches, those highly competitive coaches, they just want to succeed at the highest level. I think that's what kind of caused some of those guys. I mean, just think about a guy like Kirby. Do you think the NFL will ever come calling for him? And if they do you think he'll?
No, I think Kirby's happy where he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he could coach in the NFL. There's no doubt. I mean, he has coached in the NFL. So,
right.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt he could. So, but I think he loves Georgia. I mean, he's here. This is his thing, and you know, he's won a lot. And why not be king? Why not have your own kingdom? Okay. Hey, before we go, we don't forget. What is this? February now, right? So when the calendar flips to February, you know what that means, don't you? Vroom, 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 baby. Auto racing, Daytona 500.
Yes.
Who do you like in NASCAR? Do you like NASCAR at all? Do you follow it at all?
Let me tell you, ever since I moved to the South, you know, Fred, you probably remember we went out there last year, and I hadn't really had a huge taste of NASCAR, right? So we go out to the Motor Speedway out in Hampton, and I see you take a whirl on that car. I see you go around the track a couple times.
Driving the track. Yeah.
I said there was no way in hell I was going to join you, and it's cool. I stick to that. I did not join you in that car. However, when I saw you going around the circles in that car, I thought, you know what? This NASCAR is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And I got a chance to actually attend the race, and that was one of the coolest experience I ever had a chance to cover. I never thought, you know, I grew up in the inner city of East Cleveland, Ohio. I never thought I'd have an opportunity to cover a NASCAR race.
Yeah, it's big.
So when I had the opportunity, I felt like that was awesome. So yeah, I mean, if you have an opportunity to go out there, it's definitely worth the price of admission.
Well, you got over 100,000 people at Atlanta Motor Speedway. I mean, it's such a great afternoon. It's an all-day event. You got to go there all day because you're there early, you stay late, you see the race. You know, make sure you take Monday off work if you're going on Sunday.
Hey, and look.
Because it's going to be fun. The whole weekend's going to be fun. Here's the final advice from Scott. What do you got now?
And you might see someone like Marcus Allen, because I saw him last year, the Hall of Fame running back. He was at the race too, so you'll see a lot of cool celebrities hanging out there too.
You know, I saw, what is it, Keenan and Kel? I think Keenan was out there.
Yeah, and nobody's seen Kel in years.
Yeah, Kel's kind of, forget that.
Yeah.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order, please?
That's cool.
Oh, man. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap us up, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have a little bit of time? Or?
Yeah. They're getting us out of here.
They're going to get us out of here. Thanks so much for joining us on Atlanta News First Plus Sports Tonight. Scott, great job again. We'll see you on Mondays. Today, Friday. Yeah, so we'll see you on Monday. All right.